Clerk.
Private Members Business Notice Number 3, motion relating to Super Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines.
I call the honourable member for Chifley.
Thanks, Mr Deputy Speaker. At the outset, I'd like to flag an amendment to reflect the fact that the Australian government commendably increased the aid from $10 to $30 million, and I'd seek leave at an appropriate point to make
Is
that
leave
adjustment.
granted? The honourable member for Brisbane.
Deputy Speaker.
Thank you.
Leave is granted. The member for Chifley.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Just over a week ago, Super Typhoon Haiyan, one of the worst storms in recorded human history, swept over our good friends in the Philippines. And in numerical terms, the sheer strength of this Category 5 catastrophic storm, with gusts of just under 400 kilometres an hour, is beyond belief and compare. Its impact more so as it cut across 9 regions, 44 provinces, over 500 municipalities, 55 cities, an area home to 50 million Filipinos, just over half the country's 92 million citizens. Coron, Tacloban, Ormoc, Palo, Quinan, Cebu, all major population centres that lay directly in the path of Haiyan, were gravely affected by it. In a combination of 310 km/h winds and surging seas with waves over 10 metres in height levelled cities and turned scrub into barren land. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs estimates over 11 million Filipinos were directly affected. Between 2,500 and 5,000 have lost their lives, around 13,000 injured, nearly 1 million people displaced. Staggering numbers, numbing pictures. One of the most difficult sights over the weekend was that of emergency personnel from Tacloban forced to bury their friends, and unidentified bodies lay atop of each other in long, deep ditches, the only solace ahead of this undignified departure provided by priests who read the last rites to those poor victims. While Haiyan has quickly come and gone, people are now racing against the clock to save lives, because victims who miraculously survived this onslaught are now literally dying from thirst. The hungry are becoming the sick, and in weakened states, survivors are unable to resist the disease that comes from exposed wounds, contaminated water, airborne infection, all worsened by humid conditions. The focus now is on providing clean water and food, combined with vital medical help. Long term, there's a need to rebuild the 250,000 ruined homes, along with the roads, telecommunications, utilities that service them. UN agencies have called for help to bring forward over $300 million in assistance, and many countries have stepped up, the US pledging $20 million, the UK $16 million, Japan and the United Arab Emirates $10 million, and I'm proud to say Australia has made $30 million of assistance available, and I congratulate the Australian government for this assistance and restate the opposition leader's commitment to stand with the government and signal that both sides of politics are joined to help our friends during this tragedy. And through Australia's assistance, we'll be able to meet serious nutrition, child health and protection needs, and critical Australian know-how, doctors, nurses, paramedics, other medical specialists, ADF logistics support staff will make a difference. Globally, non-government organisations such as the Red Cross and Red Crescent, UNICEF, Save the Children, attending to the needs of Filipinos while collecting further assistance from countries across the planet. And overseas, there's been some incredibly generous donations from the corporate sector, notably the IKEA Foundation, which has donated €2 million to UNICEF, almost double the contribution made by some governments. Back home, companies such as BHP Billiton, ANZ, QBE Insurance, Optus, Telstra should all be congratulated for extending roughly $1 million in support and assistance. However, Australia's corporate citizens can do much, much more, and I'd urge our other major corporations, particularly those with business links in the region, to quickly make a contribution to a regional neighbour in great need. Mr Deputy Speaker, if you grew up in Blacktown, you grew up knowing a Filipino. Around 10% of the electorate I represent are Filipino Australians who've become great residents, warm neighbours across the suburbs of Rooty Hill, Plumpton, Oakhurst through to Minchinbury. And while Filipinos are normally recognised for their great humour, it's the other attributes they're known for that will help them most right now. Capacity for hard work, loyalty, love of family, a deep faith fuelling their strength. And many Filipinos that I've spoken with are deeply concerned about the welfare of their kababayans, countrymen and women. They've moved quickly to lend a hand, Filipino-Australian small businesses and community organisations coordinating support and supplies. On Saturday, I visited Rooty Hill small business run by Jazz and Gilda Leon, who've turned their cafe into a collection point for canned food, bottled water, or to be shipped next week. Filipino media outlets such as Ang Kalitas, Oz Informer, Bayanihan News, Philippine Community Herald and Philippine Sentinel, all providing desperately needed updates. SBS Filipino Radio running a telethon last week to raise funds. There are a range of fundraising events being organised, and with the member for McMahon, who was quick to second this motion, we will be involved in coordinating a similar event for 1 December to raise funds. Finally, I look forward to hearing and obviously having the opportunity for Australia's parliamentarians to send well wishes to our friends in the Philippines and, most importantly, send them the word from here, mabuhay, long live.